Here we have just a small example of the wide variety of seeds available that you can actually sprout in your own home. This is a very popular sunflower. Now, sunflower seeds come in thousands of varieties, shapes and sizes. This variety actually is known as a black oil. It's very small, very delicate. We're more familiar with the large, what I call the chunky fries version, which is the black and white striped. Here we have, for those who like variety, a really good bean combination of green peas, lentils, and garbanzo beans, very high in protein. And that in itself is only like several days of sprouting before you can actually consume it. Here's the familiar green pea, or the black pea, which is a great variety and very, very tasty. Here we have the very popular wheatgrass. Here we have familiar mung bean seed, very popular in the Asian market. And we have combination seeds. This is what's known as a spicy lentil crunch, for those who like a little bit of pizzazz with their taste. Comes from various sources. Here we have garlic, and a very popular Indian spice fenugreek. And all these you can actually sprout at home. Simply, this is the way nature intended. Also, the added value is not only the elements within the seed are you obtaining as you consume it, but whatever nutrients are in the soil. So we've just grown on soil. Let's try the hydroponic method, which uses one ingredient only, basically the element of water. What are we going to need for this process? Simply a good Rubbermaid container like so. This is an ideal size dish strainer, which fits in there nice and comfortable. And you're going to need jars of various sizes depending on what you're actually sprouting, and this is where it all takes place, right here in this, from start to finish. No soil, just simply water. So the first step is soaking the seed, similar to the soil method as I showed you, in a jar, soaked for a certain period of time depending on the seed that you are using, and drained overnight. Remember that prior rinse before leaving it overnight to clear all that residue out, especially the likes of alfalfa and clover, etc., etc. And it remains draining overnight to the next morning. And then begins the growth process of hydroponics using the element of water only, which is twice a day, literally rinsing it morning and night and draining in between. And that's where it all takes place within here, this growth factor. Remember that 45-degree angle, so that there's always a space between the seed and the top of the lid here. So air is available to get into the back here. If it should fall completely, you'll have a possible mold reaction in here because of the amount of heat that's actually generated as these seeds are activated in its process. So remember, always to have that angle, check it out, make sure it hasn't slipped forward, and things should evolve quite nicely. So here we have two examples of jars and also the sprouts that you can grow in them. Here we have the well-known alfalfa, and this is about 5 days growth. Now, about the 4th day, a small amount of seed goes a long way, so you get a large amount from a little amount of seed. Be aware of that. The other thing to be aware of is that when it gets to this stage, it has sort of interlocked and can cause problems with mold from the heat generated within that clump. So if it gets too large for the container, you find that it's outgrowing the size of the jar. This is why I recommend that when you're doing the likes of alfalfa, red clover, etc., a really big jar is ideal, something of this nature where there's a lot more room than the actual sprout growth. But if it happens to outgrow its size, you can split it into another jar, or else pull it out onto and what's known as just lightly fluff it up, pull it apart very lightly and separate it, and then continue the growth factor. Then towards the end of its growth cycle, which is likes of alfalfa here, 6 days, you want to do what's called greening up. It doesn't require, the beauty of hydroponics is most of what you are sprouting does not require a light source. But for the likes of the delicate ones, you want to present it in a much more acceptable manner. You will what's known as green it up, so you can actually put it for a couple of days in a light source, even the kitchen light, but not in direct sunlight. So in the last 2 days of actually growing in here, there would be a light source coming in on it, and therefore you would get the top leaves greening up as you can see here. Like I said, let's go to the steps once again. Soaking, washing after the period of soak time, leaving overnight to drain, and then every morning and then every evening washing it out and leaving it in between to drain, as I explained. And here's an example of very fast sprouting seed. This is the mixed beans, which is green peas, lentils, garbanzos, and this is just 3 days. And there we have it, the finished product. And this is what you call fresh. One of the biggest questions that I'm asked is why sprout? And I simply say, well, hopefully you want the best fuel for your body, and this is what sprouts are. It's maximum potent fuel for this incredible body that we are walking around this earth on. So the other factor is to be able to consume a minimal amount of this fuel or food that gives us maximum energy output and feeling good, able to drive us from one meal to the next meal or even further beyond meals, so that we find that we're not eating as much of the other stuff known as junk food and commercial food. We're eating real food that our body can resonate with, and it's put here for a reason. And there are many health benefits from consuming food directly as you can see that I've explained in the sprouting process, for its minerals and nutrients, and its protein and its calcium content, and also the valuable chemical compositions that allows the body to create its own needs as well.